Welcome back to Auto Academy, where we learn, wrench, and succeed. This is the second video in the 0 to 100 series, where we're learning everything from absolutely nothing to becoming auto experts. This video, video number 2, is all about under the hood and identifying some of the basic things that are going on and what those things are. Before me, I have two vehicles that I'll be showing you as examples today. If we need more or have questions or input, again, like, subscribe, and definitely comment down below your questions or what you think I can do better so I can help you guys understand, learn, wrench, and succeed. This here is a 2018 Ford Mustang. This will be the first vehicle we're looking at as an example. Now, even though this one's a Ford and the one behind me is a Jeep, there's some things that can be found under the hood of almost any vehicle, and even though they come in different shapes, colors, and are put in different positions, can be identified using some of the same factors vehicle to vehicle. So what I'm going to start with on this Mustang is there is what's referred to as a vanity or engine cover. I'm going to remove that. In future videos we'll go over how to remove these. This one's just held on with 2 bolts in these 2 holes that I've already removed for the purposes of demonstration in this video. But cameraman, if you want to come in closer, on every vehicle, one of the easiest things to find and identify is going to be the engine air filter. It's what allows the engine to suck in air. So the easiest way to identify that is we have our big block of metal that we'll later find other identifying ways of knowing, hey, this is our engine, other than, hey, we're under the hood, that's where the engine lives. But on most vehicles, if you can find something that looks like an engine, it's usually things with metal lines and fuel rails and everything else going to it. There's always an intake. It's kind of where the engine breathes from. It's the engine's mouth. And if we follow, hey, here's our engine, here's our engine's mouth hidden down here, there's usually one tube that is larger than all the rest. It can be round, square, have little baffles like this, but that tube literally, usually ends in the corner of a vehicle, whether it's here, there, upper corner, or alternate corner of the vehicle, and at the end of that is a box. And that is typically our air box. This is where the air filter is usually found. Moving over, most vehicles are going to have coolant in them. Again, we'll go over in the future what coolant is and what its purpose is in the vehicle, but it can usually be identified by the fact that it's usually housed in a plastic bottle known as the overflow. It's usually partially full, not completely. It'll have a max line and a minimum line, if you can see that on the camera. And perhaps the most distinguishing thing of coolant versus other things under the hood that have a maximum and minimum fill line is that it has a cap that usually has an image like this. So if you want to come in, camera person, it usually says something to the effect of some sort of pressure, usually between 16 and 21 psi or 105 to 145 kPa, and a photo showing that, hey, this is hot, don't mess with it. And again, that's coolant. It cools our engine down. So if the engine's been running, it's definitely hot. Moving over further, if you see this symbol, this is almost a universal symbol for every car for windshield wiper fluid. So when you pull back that trigger to spray the windshield, this is where you add that fluid in there. It just pops open. In this vehicle, the washer fluid is blue. There's multiple different colors. We'll go over that actually later in this semester's series of videos. But again, the caps may be a different color in a different position, but that symbol usually means that that's your washer fluid. Moving over on this side of the vehicle, we see a plastic box. It's got some large wires coming to it with a little photo of what's known as a fuse. Camera person, if you want to pan in on that one, that's usually a semi-universal symbol of, hey, this is the fuse box, where inside a lot of little electrical components are housed. Again, in future videos we'll go over what those are for and why we'd want to be in there, but at least identify, under the hood of your own vehicle where this box is, so you know for future reference where to find it. Now, coming off the engine, you'll usually find some sort of cap. Really, the only exception to not finding something like this is if you have a very quirky European vehicle. You more than anybody are probably going to need this course, because boy, are they something to work on. But this is the oil cap. It comes off, and of course we follow the tube and it goes into our engine. So this is where we add oil. This is the universal symbol for oil or oil cap. You may have seen this light on your dashboard inside the car. This is not the teapot or tea time light. If you have this light, you should probably turn the car off and have it towed to a service professional at this time. Towards the end of the course, this is certainly something we'll be able to fix, repair, and service ourselves. But again, designate over an oil cap, other than that's connected to the engine. Usually got that goofy looking teapot and some sort of oil weight designation where it said 5W20, 5W30, 0W20, 0W16, and so on and so forth. But use those similarities to find these components on your own vehicle. Moving further back to this corner, every vehicle, electric vehicle or gas vehicle, has some sort of battery. Electric vehicles obviously much larger, but every gas vehicle needs one to start. So it's usually somewhere under the hood. Again, European vehicles, some American vehicles, they're inside the cabin or in the trunk. But what we're always looking for is either the battery itself, which we'll get a better idea of what a battery looks like on the Jeep Liberty, or a symbol as we see here. So camera person, if you want to pan on in, here it says 12 volts, and what do you know, this little picture looks just like a battery. So if we pry this guy up, what do you know, there's our battery. So just ways to identify where these things may be on your vehicle, and unlike on this Mustang, they may be under cover. You don't have to disassemble that stuff yet in this course. We will teach you and show you how, but try and identify where these things are on your own vehicle. So moving over to the other side, one of the last things we'll find that we do find on almost every other vehicle is usually a bottle that's clear, ideally housing some sort of clear or lightly yellow fluid. If your car is older and maybe not in the best of the shape, it might be brown or ideally not straight black, but that is certainly a color you may see in this container. This container is going to be usually found in front of where the driver sits in the vehicle, and it's going to have a little cap on it just like this. And this container houses our brake fluid. Another good indicator is if your vehicle is made in the US or Japan, they're usually pretty kind to us. It usually says something having to do with .3 or .4. Again, we'll go over what these fluids are later, but that is an indicator that this is brake fluid, because .3 and .4 are both different types of brake fluid. So those are kind of the basics under the hood of this Mustang. So next, let's see if we can apply those same principles to see if we can find similar fluid and service fill spots under the hood of our Jeep Liberty next to me. Actually, before we move over to our Jeep Liberty, there is one more thing I need to show you on this Mustang. Ironically, it is the purpose and the goal of this semester. I almost forgot though, because it is hidden on this Mustang. Almost every gas car, again, if you have a European vehicle, this might be a little different for you, but we'll go over that later in the course. There's always, or most of the time, an oil dipstick. So camera person, if you want to comment on here, most oil dipsticks are going to be orange or yellow, and in some form or fashion, they go down into the engine. So on this Ford, it's hidden way down here, but I knew, hey, if I look around the engine and try to find something yellow, I can probably find the dipstick. The other indicator that this is for our engine oil is if we pull that out, it should have a long stick on it, in which that measures your oil. So we'll go over how to do that by the end of the semester so you can change your own engine oil. But certainly something you may want to find under the hood of your own vehicle is that yellow or orange pull tab to check and sample your oil. Now, if you have multiple, that's all right. We'll go over what that is on something like our Jeep Liberty right behind us. Here we are with the 2006 Jeep Liberty. Even though this is 12 years older than the 2018 Mustang we just looked at, most of the principles for identifying what is where under the hood still carry over. So let's see if we can use those principles to identify some of the things that are under the hood of this Liberty. We'll start off with this top driver's side corner. Just like on the Mustang, seated in front of where the driver would sit in the vehicle is our clear container filled with ideally a clearer fluid, but this is an under-service vehicle. We can safely assume that this is our brake fluid. Now, I know for certain, but again, it's the principles of recognizing the positioning in the vehicle for those of you who aren't sure, because your vehicle is different. Your bottle might be a different shape, different color, but the base principle for helping you find where that potentially could be in your vehicle. So we progress in the course, we'll make sure that in fact is the position in your vehicle, but using the basics can usually help us identify what something is, even though it's not the same position as every other vehicle. And we'll apply that same concept to the battery here. On the Mustang, it was under a cover. This one's under the hood without a cover, but hey, this is our battery out in the open, much easier to find. And just behind it, we have a big plastic case. Now, that doesn't always indicate that that's where the fuses are, as we talked about on the Mustang, but the Mustang had a cute little diagram for us to see that, hey, that's a fuse, that's where our fuses are kept. On this one, Chrysler was kind enough to put release latch for access to fuses and relays. And if we open this case, sure enough, there's our fuses. So again, using our basic principles to figure out what is where on the vehicle, even though this is on the opposite side as what we had just looked at. Looking around the engine bay a little bit more in this section of this particular vehicle, we do find one more cap way down here. I don't know if you can see that, camera person. I'll add a little bit of light for you. But if I clean this off, in case you can't read it, it says use approved power steering fluid. So easy peasy, that one's labeled for us. It is for the power steering system. If you need another way to identify it, that fluid container, if your vehicle is equipped with one, is usually going to be pretty close to something like this. This big round guy down here is called a pulley, and we'll get further into that as the course progresses, but the power steering systems are usually driven by a pulley, so that fluid container and the pulley usually aren't too far apart. So if you only have one container under the entire engine bay that's near one of those pulleys, that's probably your power steering fluid. So now we'll move to the other side of the vehicle to go over some things for that side. All right, so now that we're on the passenger side of the vehicle, we'll work from the back towards the front. Now on this one, we see two yellow pull tabs. On the Mustang, we had a heck of a time finding what we ended up learning was the oil dipstick. And again, it's usually a yellow or orange pull, but on this vehicle, we have one towards the back and one towards the front. So what are the two fluids? Luckily, Chrysler has labeled them for us here. This first one, it might be kind of crusty and dirty, does say engine oil right on it. How can we verify? Hey, we pull that out, we got the long stick. We'll go over other identification methods, but if it wasn't labeled, one of the things that tells me for sure this is oil is the color of the fluid. This one's a nice golden brown. Even really dirty oil is going to be jet black. But those colors are important to remember because this back one, which may or may not be labeled, it turns out this one does say trans on it for transmission fluid. If it wasn't labeled, I could figure out that, hey, this is probably transmission fluid because of the coloring. This is red. There are no red engine oils to the best of my knowledge. So even without a label, I would be able to figure out, hey, this is not the engine oil. This is for my transmission fluid. Again, as the course progresses, we'll go over other identifying methods and ways to give you more confidence on figuring out which of these two are which, should you have any questions. Along the backside here, we have another clear plastic bottle, kind of similar size and color to that of what we had on the Mustang. And I can tell you confidently that this is the coolant overflow bottle. Now, this one doesn't have the cool, this is hot photo like we saw on the Mustang. But, as I said, we're going to use our identifying factors. If it's going to have something indicating some sort of pressure, again, between 16 and 21 pounds or 105 to 150 kPa. So this is definitely for our cooling system. And again, just like on the Mustang had a photo, this one has it written out. Do not open when hot. Actually, at the bottom it says test or replace when changing the coolant. So it's got coolant written right on it. So, try looking for something similar to this under the hood of your car to identify where the coolant gets added in. Moving forward, we have the box here. This is our air box, just like on the Mustang, and it shares the same characteristic of, we have the greater engine here. We kind of look along and follow the biggest tube that's under the car. This is without a doubt the biggest tube, and hey, it is corrugated and there's some spots that are solid. And then it goes to what we could commonly call the throat of the engine, or the intake. But using those general principles, we're able to find, okay, biggest tube under the engine goes to a big box where our air filter is going to be housed. So that gives me high confidence that if I was under the hood of a different vehicle I'd never seen before, that this is going to be where the air filter's at. And finally, in the very front right corner, I don't know, camera person, if you can see it, we do have one little cap with the exact same logo and labeling as on the Mustang for our washer fluid. So with that in mind, I'd like to challenge you to open the hood of your own car and see what you can find and identify using these principles. Of course, on your own vehicle, unless it's a 2006 Liberty or 2018 Ford Mustang, all these components are going to be in different spots. But let's use those basic guiding principles to see what you can find and if you can correctly identify those components. If you have questions, feel free to drop a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer them for you and guide you down the right path. And if you're too nervous to ask a question and just want to see what's next, tune in for the next video going over our owner's manual, which will specifically indicate where each of these things are under the hood of your own vehicle, so you know exactly where each of those parts are. This has been Christian with Auto Academy, where we learn, wrench, and succeed.